everyone, welcome to the Pushing Arjun podcast. This is the host Ash. There's a certain type of person who feels more at peace outside than anywhere else. Not because it's easy, but because it's honest. Today's guest is someone who genuinely loves being out there for hours, sometimes an entire day, moving through mountains, weather, silence, and her own thoughts. And when she talks about it, you can hear it. It's not performance, it's not ego, it's home. What stood out to me isn't what she has achieved, it's why she does it. Running helped her mentally. It gave her confidence. It gave her structure. It gave her community. It gave her something solid to hold on to when life felt unstable. And over the years, she has used that strength to give back, raising money for charities, supporting others, showing up for the community that shaped her. This conversation isn't about chasing times, it's about what happens when distance becomes freedom, when being outside isn't escape, it's clarity, when pushing your body becomes a way of strengthening your mind. Let's get right into it, and please let me introduce your guest today. Here is Sanna. Hey, Sanna, welcome to the podcast. I know we've been going back and forth a long time to get this done. So, yeah, thank you so much for your time and let's get this started.
Hi Ash, thank you for having me. Yes, I think we've both been quite busy with different things, me mainly running. But yeah, it's great to be on the podcast, so thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, sure. And I know briefly, I think I found your profile from GB Ultras. I think that's what I was looking for at least to talk to. And then I think I talked to John Park.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So I saw.
I know John, yeah, I met him at a GB Ultra event and another one in Wales. So yeah, GB Ultras are a great community as well as race company. Yeah, in 2024, I had an amazing year running the GB Ultra races. I did 3 of their 100 milers and one of their 50 milers. It's just the community there is amazing. This year I spent a lot more. I haven't done any of their races in 2025, but I spent more time helping out with recce's and sweeping and being at checkpoints on their races, which has been nice to do it from that side too, to give back.
Definitely, I think both aspects are nice. Just running and then just being there helping us are nice too. Before we go into your ultra journey, can you please give a quick introduction? How would you
Yeah,
introduce
of course.
yourself?
So I'm Sanna. I think I'm known as the smiley red haired runner. I like doing really long distances, anything 100 miles or more. I'm known for running the whole of the Pembrokeshire Coast Path. I've done it twice now successfully, and I just love running on the trails. It's just what I love, whether it's slow, fast, or supporting others or my own races.
As we were talking about it, you talk about the GB Ultras, you have multiple 100 milers in a belt and countless other races that you've done. So, where did this begin for you? Can you take us back to where did this joy for running or this competitiveness came in you? Were you a runner from the early on, from your childhood, or it just was something that you picked up when you were adult?
No, I never really ran other than like just PE or just general sports day in school. I never did any more than what was required. When I went to college, in my free time, I started using the gym there and so got a bit of a taste for fitness, but it was more for aesthetics rather than any performance and going to local gym classes. And then I did, well, before there was park runs, there used to be the Run for Life, the 5K, and you'd raise money for cancer research. So that was my first ever race. I would have been, I think I was 19 and I ran around a local area called Scolton Manor. It was on like trails, hard path, but you could be road trainers. And yeah, it was great fun. I think I came third and I realised that was so freeing and people cheering you on and the community spirit of it. It's, wow, this is amazing. So I started doing a bit of running, not much, but mixture of gym and running. I've always loved the outdoors when I was a kid, always down the beach, always loved being out with my animals and working the dogs, but never really running. But when I found running and I could combine that exercise, that fitness, and then being outside, that was it. I was hooked. But I did the normal kind of thing. I went from 5K to 10K, did the British 10K in London. And then I did a half marathon. I can't remember what my first half marathon was. And then I did a marathon in 2013. It's called the Long Course Weekend. So that's part of the Ironman farmer things, but you do the swim on the Friday, the bike on the Saturday, and then a marathon on the Sunday. So I just did the marathon. It was horrific. It was really hot. There was lots of roads. It was hilly, but I was hooked. So then I did a few more marathons, got a really good time in 2015, won that marathon, came first female, all road again. And I was like, I think I'm getting better at this. I could see improvements. And it wasn't necessarily to beat anyone, it was more to be better myself. It gave me a purpose. I've always suffered a low self-esteem and confidence, but this running, it just gave me a purpose and confidence and just felt amazing. Whether I won or came in the top 50, it was just, you complete a marathon, everyone's, wow, that's amazing. It doesn't matter what time. And in that time, in 2015, I'd started to go on the local Selly hills. They're not mountains as such as rolling hills, very muddy, quite tough, and it was brutal. I had tantrums, didn't eat enough, I got lost, fell over, but I loved it. It was the adventure, that pushing. So that was how I got into trail. I moaned a lot of the hills, bimbled down the downhills, trying not to fall over, but had such a laugh and an adventure and met some great people. This is what I want to spend my Saturday mornings doing. So later that year, I signed up to my first ultra 50 miler around the Gower in Wales. Oh my goodness, that was something special. The weather, the navigation, the fueling, the kit you have to carry, it's a whole another type of sport. But I loved it. I didn't do very well in it, but I made some good friends. I fell over, managed to graze my chin and chest somehow, got so lost. But the fact then when you finish it and you tell people you've done 50 miles and the awe and the inspiration that it gives other people and the questions you get asked, I was like, wow, this is really good. I enjoyed this. Just a whole day out there on the trails, not worrying about life, just getting from A to B, food. And yeah, it clears your mind in no other way, because it's a bit like survival, but obviously you know you're going to be okay. But in that moment, you're just thinking about one foot in front of the other. And that was how I got into ultras. I did a few others. I did a 40 miler. That race doesn't exist anymore. It was a road out and back, 20 miles one way, 20 miles the other. It was tough, but I won and I couldn't believe it. I came first overall. I was like, wow, what happened? I couldn't believe it. I think I just have this mindset, and once I'm on something, that's it. I just don't give up like a horse with a bit. It was just, I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna quit. I can't fail. And I realised if I trained a bit harder and had more consistency and mixed some of my gym work and spent a bit more time running, that maybe this is something I could be good at and enjoy. And once I had that feeling, I never really wanted to let go of it. I did then my first 100 miler in 2017. It was on the Pembrokeshire Coast Path. Now that was something special. That was hard. I only was running like 50 miles a week, which, well, compared to what I'm now, it seems quite crazy. But me and I met a friend through that, and we ran the whole 100 miles together, 27 hours, non-stop talking, and we became joint female. It was just amazing. It didn't feel like running, but the nighttime running was different. But up till then, I hadn't done a whole night of running. That lack of sleep was just a whole nother level. But I loved it again. It's like, yeah, I'm definitely doing this. This is even better than running 50 miles. I get to do double. And that's when I realised 100 miles was my favourite distance.
It is addicting, right? Even though you start from 5K and then you get better at it, and then you're like, oh, can I do 10K? And then you go to 10K and
Yeah.
half marathon, and then you keep pushing yourself. You just want to do better. And I think that's the thing for me too, was running marathon versus running the ultra. Ultra was just fun because you are not bound to just looking at your watch all the time. What is my
Yeah.
split? How fast am I running? Because you don't need to worry about it. You just go and you just walk the hills, or
Yeah.
you walk the downhill, right? Nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
says something about
I
you walking.
because I often get asked, oh, what's my fastest mile? I'm like, what am I running on? Is it road? Is it down a mountain? Is it up Snowdonia? I don't know. It doesn't really matter what my fastest mile is, or even what my fastest marathon is, because it really doesn't matter. And that's what I enjoyed. I found when I was road running, I was getting too caught up in the numbers. And if I wasn't hitting them, then that was affecting my self-esteem, which was already not great. But when I moved to trail, it was different. It was so freeing, and it's about survival and organising and planning, and things can go wrong, like weather. I remember one of the GB Ultra races that I did, the Brecon Beacon 100. It's a race in July. You would think it'd have pretty stable weather. However, Wales, a mountain range, we ended up having a severe weather warning, low level routed. And back then, you didn't have to have the low level route like on your watch or device. There's 4 of us marching across the Brecon Beacons in the middle of the night with torrential rain. The streams are now like gushing rivers. The wind is howling against you, and you're just trying to keep your line parallel to what would have been your high level route. It was amazing. There was I was the only female, and I got these 3 men following me across the Brecon Beacons in the dark. It was just such an adventure, but we did it. And there was, when you get Strava flybys, I kept the line perfectly. And you look at other people's on that race, they're going around in circles and doing all these other things. I'm notoriously known for getting lost. So the fact that I was able to keep it together and stay focused in the middle, that's my first ever mountain ultra, and we had that chucked at us. That was amazing. It was great. And I came first female, and I couldn't believe it. It was the toughest thing I'd ever done. And that's why then in 2024, I knew I could go back and beat that record. That I knew I did that in 33 hours. And I'm like, it's definitely a sub 30 hours in that, with slightly better conditions, more knowledge, a stronger mindset. And yeah, I did then in 2024, went and got the sub 30 hours for it. So I was very pleased. The weather was a lot better, but it was more than just that. It was just the growth in myself gave me such a better race. I think I came 3rd overall, so it was just crazy.
It is that when you just look at your race, right? So the first time you did, you 33 hours, and then now you saved up so much of your time, and it's just there's the growth in yourself. And because
Yeah,
the more you run, the more
definitely.
better you get. But when you look at the running journey, the first time you ran, and then now you ran the same race, the 100 miler, has the meaning of running changed for you, or has it been the same?
No, it's still the same. If anything, I think I have more passion for it now, for the trails and the nature and the community of it. I think maybe I have more passion, but the why I run and the feelings that it gives me is still the same, just maybe empathized a bit more. And I have a little bit more self-belief and confidence in myself. I'm never going to be one of these really big confident people, but I know that my body and my mind can get me through 100 miles. How we'll do it, if we'll fall, or what might happen on the way, or who I'll meet, I don't know. But that's part of the great thing of it, is a bit of the unknown. But I know I can push myself, and if I can't, or if anything's wrong, I have no qualms in like calling it a day to prevent injury. Because to me, to be able to move my body and run and be on those trails week in, week out is much more important than one race. Yes, I've won quite a few races, but I've also had my fair few DNFs not finished as well, and I've learned more from some of them than I have from any of my wins. It's part of the journey. You can't have success without some failures or hardships along the way, and I've learned that in life. And this year it was quite tough. I was taking on the whole Pembrokeshire Coast Path, so did that. I started in April. The weather got really bad. I made some bad kit choices, so my feet weren't in a great shape, so my form wasn't very well. I had a whole two media teams following me in a brand, and I had people coming and cheer me on, but I was hit, I was injured, I was cold, I wasn't enjoying it. So out of the coast path is 186 miles, and at 130 odd, I stopped and called it a day. It was tough. There was a lot of people watching me, but I had to stay true to me, and I wasn't feeling it. I was in a lot of pain, and I thought I'd injured my Achilles, but thankfully I went and seen a physio, and thankfully my soleus muscle had got so tight, and my front of my foot had swelled. It was just a combination. I ran 130 miles. It was your body's gonna give up, but with the weather and my feet with blisters. I just wasn't running right anymore, and it was putting a lot of pressure on muscles that aren't used to being used quite that way. So I did have to call it a day, and it was tough, but I think it also, I was true to myself. I didn't just push because I had all these people watching me. I knew my limit and I called it a day. But then I went back in August and learnt those lessons, worked on those weak calf muscles, and rejigged some of my trail and kit and my crew and my kit. And then I went and got an even better time than what I could have ever imagined. So just got to show sometimes you've got to take a step back to go forward, as hard as it can be sometimes.
Definitely. I always look DNF as not as a failure, but something that you need to improve on. It's not a sprint that you're just gonna go and do. Oh, let me go and do 100 meters, but no, to run hundreds of miles. So I think I DNF in Berlin too this year, and I've never DNF before. It's not a nice feeling, like you said. It just I after that I just didn't love running. I hated running because I felt like this fraud that who cannot even run a marathon, and I'm like I'm on
Yeah.
a but I just I can't even do a marathon. So but that day was tough. I was sick before like a couple of days, so I was
Okay.
sure that I was gonna run, but I felt
Yeah.
good in the morning and I said, okay, I'm gonna go run. But after half marathon, I started getting dizzy and I was like, okay, this is not good. But I continued for 3, 4 kilometers and then I'm like, okay, I think this is it for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to fall and break something my I might crack open my head.
Yeah. Well, look at
My
the bigger picture, don't you?
yeah, it's
And that can
yeah.
that can be hard while you're in it with all the emotions of the race and the build up. But yeah, you've got to look at the bigger picture, and it's just one race. That race will be there again, or another one. You might not want to go back and do that one now because of the emotion around it. But there's other ultras, marathons. Just got to look for the next adventure once you heal, and if you're injured, then you got to rebuild from that. Or if it's just a bad day, then you just got to hope that the next one isn't.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a backyard ultra this week. Next weekend. I have a backyard ultra. I don't know. Yeah, I
Amazing.
don't know. I am still new to ultra running. I don't have a lot of mileages in ultra, so I'm hoping I can do 10 loop. So that is my goal is get,
Amazing.
yeah, get a 10 loop. If I can get a 10, that's around 67 kilometers, 68 kilometers
Yeah.
something. So that's what I'm aiming for, and I'm going to register for a 100 miler on Sunday, because the Berlin 100 miler is going to open up. So I've been looking at it. So I think that will be my first 100 miler.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But and going back to
I
you,
think
yeah,
your first 100 miler has to be maybe, I think, one that you feel something for, that you really want, because it is really tough and you're going into the unknown. So, like for me, choosing the Pembrokeshire 100 miler worked. It's what I love. And I don't do many races twice, but I've done the Brecon Beacon one twice, the 100 miler, and I've done the Pembrokeshire Coast 100 twice because I wanted to beat my own times, and I have successfully. That first 100 mile I did in 2017, that was 27 and a half hours. Then I went back in 2018 and did it in 23 hours and 5 minutes.
yeah.
So I trained really hard. I realised what I needed to do and went and got that sub 24 hour on a trail. But I also know that's the other thing, is knowing what you like and don't like. So for me, I've tried backyard ultras because they're quite a new thing in the ultra world. When I was started in 2015, there was nothing really like that. There was track races when you run around tracks, but not backyard ultra. And I am not very good at loops. I think there's something about not knowing when an end is that my brain just goes, nope. I tried one which is last man standing, and I think I was like 13 loops in, and there was three of us left. I'm like, I'm just not enjoying this anymore. I'm just gonna stop. And I did. But when I did one that was capped at 12, I did much better, but still didn't love it. I think I have to have the challenge of maybe not knowing the route or having a change of scenery. For me, I have to have that adventure. It's not just about distance, it's about adventure. So yeah, backyard ultras, anyone that does, like, you've got much more mental strength than me. I just can't do them. Not at the moment anyway. Maybe when I'm older it might come, but for me, I need straight line and a start and a finish, or one big loop.
This is my first one too, but I've talked to few people who did backyard. They are like just specialized on backyard ultra. So Habilis was
Yeah.
on it, and then Levi Yoder, he's so good at it. And then Megan Eckert, I think she did at the time 600 miles. She broke the
Well,
record.
yeah,
Yeah, she broke the record, and then she said she will do another episode again. And I talked to I reached out to Evo. He was the one who finished second to Phil Gore in the bigs. Yeah, so
yeah,
excited to see, because it's a very interesting format, because 6.7 kilometer, and then you just chill whatever time you need.
yeah.
Maybe you sleep for 10 minutes, do whatever you want. So it is interesting, but like I said, I don't know what will happen, because this is the first one for me too. So I am, I don't know how would I react, because like you, I also want to go, because I want to go from point
Yeah.
A to point B rather than just running in a loop, because I do the track and it sucks after 10 loops. It's just, what am I doing
I
here?
think it is a little bit easier in the backyard ultras because you've got a bit of a community, so you do have that race feel. But maybe I'm just not open-minded enough to it. But I have done a stage race. I did Dragon's Back race in 2023, which is where you run from Conway Castle in North Wales to Cardiff Castle in southwest Wales, 6 days over the Welsh mountains. You stop each night, you set up camp. Well, they set it up for you. It's part of the structure. And I didn't know how I'd feel about that because I'm not used to I'm not really, I don't love camping. I like to have a shower on a mattress and a pillow every night. So that was a bit of testing. But my friend had talked about it, and he did it back when it was more map and compass. But it was 5 days, and it was much more rugged, and it always sounded amazing. And these people that did Dragon's Back, and they were like heroes, and it just sounded. I wanted to be one of these people. It just sounds amazing, but it's very challenging terrain. When I did it in 2023. 300 people started and only 87 people finished. So it's tough. So I got to the start line. I trained really hard for 18 months, and I just thought, right, just give it a go. And yeah, I had a whale of a time. It was amazing. It was just 6 days in the hills. I missed my shower. Showering in a river isn't quite the same. And when my partner picked me up from Cardiff, we had to drive on the way on the M4 with all the windows open. So I think me and my kit stank a little bit. But it was such an experience, and I pushed myself in ways I never would have been able to without being in that setting. I was on my own a lot, so I had to nav it. I didn't have anyone. There's no cheering like there is in some other races. There's only 2 checkpoints. They're very basic. You have one with just water. The other one has your drop bag and water, and that's it. It's not a spectators race, so I didn't know how I'd cope mentally with being on my own. Yeah, but it changed me. It made me, like you often say, how does running affect your real life? But you can relate to it. I went and applied for a job that I never would have before because I thought I wasn't good enough. I just thought, just give it a go. What have you got to lose? And yeah, it paid off. And quite often with things in life, I think I can't. And then I remember, you've done Dragon's Back. You can. Or I think of other hard times, like in the Brecon Beacons with bad weather that time. I just got it done, was teamwork, and I wasn't the one that was leaning on others. Others were leaning on me. And I just remember these times. And so when life feels a bit tough, I just lean and remember what I've done in my running and just try and engage that mindset. So for me, running really has made me much more confident and given me a much stronger mindset. It just keeps me healthy.
Definitely, it I think it creates a new, or it shows us a new perspective. It's because running is hard, and running 100 milers, running for 6 days, that's harder thing. And we are so clinical of ourselves, because we just are like, oh, you cannot do this, or I cannot do this, we cannot do this, and
Yeah.
so we all go through that phases. But then we are here running these 100 milers, and then trying to go from point A to point B in 6 days, like doing so many things that you ever didn't think that you can do it. So it is amazing, though. And like you said earlier on, I think I learned my lesson, because for my first ultra, it was 1,000 meters of elevation, and being a road marathoner, I've never like we have.
It changes things.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah. It's in Berlin. I thought I knew hills, because there's a trail, and then I usually run the trail, and it's when by the time I'm done, it's like 100 115 meters of elevation, and I'm like, this is hill. But then I went to do that ultra, and I'm like, Oh my God! It's now I know what how much is a thousand meters.
Yeah.
So the Berlin 100 mile is flat. So that's why I
Okay.
picked it.
But
Yeah, that's why I picked because I don't
I
want to
don't know if
go.
it's easier though. It's just different, is it? Because I remember I did in 2024. I did Chester 100 miler, the GB Ultras, and there was some elevation, but I think it's 1,000 meters in total. I think that's all it is. Maybe only 1,000 feet, but it's really low. And I was like, my hips are going to hate me. And there was just so much running involved in that, like much more than a mountain. And then, so I did Chester and then I did the Brecon Beacon, then I did Snowdonia, 100 milers, and they're much more, like I say, I'm not the fastest runner. I just think I'm very determined and good at staying steady for a long time. And I'm not speed demon at all. I've never really been that quick, but I just can focus and get it done. I've obviously got quicker over time, but I've also got smarter. So I think I've been doing this for my ultras for 10 years. So you've got to have some type of improvement, whether that's mindset or physicality as well. But I did do a road half marathon this year though. And so after my FKT in August, I didn't have anything booked because I didn't want to have the pressure just in case. I wanted to give it my all and nothing to hold me back. In work, though, we had a charity for Cardiff half marathon, very flat. I think it's 200 feet of elevation, and I was really worried that my time was going to be rubbish, but I was very chuffed I got 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I thought that's not too shabby for someone that ran 180 odd miles 2 months before. So come on, there is some speed there, but like you were saying earlier with road, all I kept doing was looking at my watch, and it just felt like those 13 miles felt like it took an eternity because I was just so focused on numbers. It was just very different. And no backpack. I didn't know what to do. No kit list.
Yeah, it's different
It was
feeling.
very
It's a different feeling, right? Because when you are
yeah,
doing the ultras, then you are carrying like so many gels, water, everything. But when you do half marathon,
your life.
yeah, you don't need anything.
But yeah, it was very peculiar. But I have entered one more race for this year because I was feeling a bit low, and races keep me in check. They make sure I taper and don't burn out and keep eating healthy. I have entered one more race for this year in November. It's a 90 miler around Snowdonia Slate Trail, and that's very it's very hilly, but I'm just looking forward to the adventure because it's going to be quite a lot of dark. So and it's on some bits of Snowdonia that I've not done, so that excites me.
I'm gonna stay away for the hilly section until I am so used to running the distance because
Yeah,
I learned the hard way that for the first ultra you should never do it like a hilly section because unless you have those places you can run because I remember once I crossed the first hill it was like 150 200 meters. Then it was 16 kilometer of downhill, and I have never run
yeah,
16 kilometers of downhill. And my quads, and I sprinted. I like a marathon.
I flew down
Yeah,
it.
I flew. It's
That
big mistake.
when I was doing Dragon's Back, one of my friends he said on the first 3 days, do not go full pelt downhill, Sanna. I'm like, okay. And in the back of my head, every downhill I was going down, I'm like, nice and steady, softly, do not smash your quads up. And then day 5 is on the Brecon Beacons, which is I love the Brecon Beacons. And I was just flying down all the downhills then because I hadn't tired my quads out in those first 3 days. And then day 6 is, well, you just get to that castle. But yeah, my quads, like after the Brecon Beacon and Snowdon, like when I race 100 milers, my quads are smashed from throwing myself like up and down the hills. It's like my dad and partner are always like, how are your legs still hitting after everything you've done? I'm like, because I'm still an idiot and I still throw myself down the downhills and smash my legs up. But it's fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, it was
It
fun.
doesn't matter
I was catching up
for
people, and I
Monday.
was like, yes, I'm beating up people, but yeah, never again.
Yeah.
Never doing that again.
If downhill running is what causes you the most DOMs then, or soreness the next day, uphills do, but it's different. But downhill, to really work on my downhill running, I was really bad at it. And that's where I was like not doing so well in races. And when I had an Achilles injury in 2018, it made me work on like my ankle and stability strength. And then after that, I was like a demon. Oh, no, I'm not so good when there's rocks. I think I have a bit of fear of smashing my face on them. But yeah, it's just the best. It's freeing, it's fun, it's like being a kid again, isn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, it's a different experience, and the technical if it's a downhill it's but one thing, but if there are rocks and if the
Yeah.
terrain is loose and then there are branches, then they're like that creates different kind of problems. So yeah,
But it's a different type of thinking, and I don't think we get to do that very often, where you have to switch off a bit of your brain that stops you holding back, but also that navigation to make sure your feet hit the right spot and don't trip over that stick or rock. But you don't very often get to do that in life as much as an adult. So I think it's good to have that bit of that different type of fear, not the anxiety of life fear, the like real fear and adrenaline. And when you get to the bottom, it just feels amazing. I just don't think we do that very often in life as adults. So running definitely helps me trigger that bit of my brain. And since I've done running, I find my mental health is much more stable. When I was like a young adult and teenager, I was like flying off the rails, very hot-headed, very emotional. And then when I found running, and I found calm and peace, and that was life-changing for me. I was able to be more stable and happier as an adult, and less less angry. So that helped.
I think it's for most of us it's the same feeling is when we run, it just feel, and the song I wrote, that's why I run, is based on that. It's just the feeling when you're like, when you're running, then you feel free, you feel to, you run to quiet the voices or if there is any pain or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
it gives so much of an outlet for the mental health, for depression. I have had depression before, so this was my outlet to go and just get that me time or get that quiet time where I'm just running and there's a trail or road. And yeah, it's just nice to just go and have fun and not to worry about, like you were saying earlier on, when you go on that long run for 3-4 hours, there is nobody to disturb you. You just on the trails and like deers and stuff, and it just, oh wow,
Yeah, the why.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is life, and it's so quiet and peaceful. And I think that has drawn me to ultras is the fact that first, you don't have to be slave to your watch and see how fast I'm running. I think that is the biggest pressure of me is I'm so competitive with myself, and each marathon I wanted to get faster and it felt
Yeah.
like a job. So now I just don't really care. I don't care what I run.
Yeah.
It's
It's
freeing.
just freeing, yeah. Yeah, that's why when people ask why did I go from one to the other, I just knew if I wanted to up my marathon time or get faster, I'd have to change my training to a training I wouldn't enjoy. And this was meant to be enjoying. I'm not an Olympian. I don't need to worry about my fastest time. I'm still meant to enjoy my trail running, and that's what I always tell people. I do these. They're called they're women only runs, and we meet every month. And everyone's like, I'm not quick enough. I'm like, what? Isn't it? You are quick enough. It doesn't matter. You're just out and moving. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter about pace. Just get outside, chat to people, or have your own time wherever you need. Just make it whatever you want, and you'll enjoy it. It's just about being outside with nature and fresh air.
Yeah, and that's why I started this podcast too, was like just to talk. Like when we are talking, then we are usually, especially with Instagram, we're only caught up with successes, right? Because everybody is,
Yeah,
and successes are sometimes so much glorified because you talk about success, but then if there is a failure, then nobody wants to talk about it, and it just can,
yeah,
everybody's showing it, right? The goal with the podcast is because there has been so many episodes where we just talk about the DNF, the failure, the struggle that we feel, that we go in a day-to-day life while running. And then if somebody listen to this episode and then they're going to be like, oh wow, this is what I felt, so I want to do this. So these people are going and doing these amazing things, so maybe I can do too. And that's the goal, is to just get them inspired enough to take that first step. They don't have to run.
yeah,
The point is not
yeah.
about running,
It
like,
could be
yeah.
anything,
Yes.
can't it? Yeah. Because I know that I don't know, but the likelihood is I won't be able to run as well as I do like this for the rest of my life. And that's fine. I can do it now, and I can't predict my future, but I'm going to do it while I can. And then when I can't, I want to help other people do it, whether it's these group runs or just talk and be outside, whether I'm walking out with my dog or helping conserve the Pembrokeshire Coast Path. I just want to be, and no one can take away what I've done. So that's always going to be there. I ran the whole Pembrokeshire Coast Path, and I can love and remember that, and other people can see that I did that, and that might inspire them to do it or to do something of similar. It's not about always being able to do it, but it's the fact that I wanted to do it. I woke up, I made it, I planned, I trained, I got it all together, and I went and did it. And no one can take that away. Whether I do it again, I don't know, but I've done it now, and I can help inspire and help anybody else that wants to run or walk the Pembrokeshire Coast Path. And I do. I get lots of questions, people asking me about things about the coast path. Is a tidal crossing, and then they ask me about that, or where's good to stay, and it's just things like that I want to help, or help out at checkpoints at GB Ultras or other races. I just want to be part of the community, and that's what it's about.
Definitely. And the community is so much nicer because I've talked to people who are like you, right? For instance, I'm so different. I'm not a ultra runner like you are. You have
Yeah.
run and done so many 100 miles, and there have been so many other cases like I can just talk about it. Oh my God, they agreed to talk to me because I am nobody. I'm just like
Oh,
famous podcast or anything. It's just like I feel blessed that people want to share their journey and then share this story, and then just hope is that somebody can take anything, all the words, the mantras, like the we all go through that low point, and then what are the other people do to get from it, because that we can totally use that. And before
yeah.
right before my ultra, I was editing this episode of Jessie. She is like insane. Like she does 300. She did Arizona 300 Monster, and we were talking about it. And then her thing was, if you quit now, you cannot go back. Quitting is forever. And
Yeah,
yeah, and after
that's good.
yeah, after going that 16 kilometer downhill, and then it came one of the technical section. It was like 4 kilometer up, like straight. It's 14% graded hill. At the middle said this is bullshit because
Yeah, I know that feeling.
yeah, and I didn't know that I could finish because it was 30 kilometers then, and I still needed to do 20 25 kilometers more. And I was like, I don't think I can do it. And then I remember what she said, and I started making mini goals because once I climbed, and then I had to come down, and my quad stopped moving at all because it was all done. And
They didn't want to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. And then I made the mini goal of just running 50 steps. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2,
Yeah,
3, 4. Yeah, so I did
I
that.
spend so much time counting when I'm running. Yeah, like that, just to get you through. It helps. It's just momentum, isn't it?
Yep. And then it's just a thing you learn, and I've learned so many things from so many people, and then it helps now. I'm gonna ask the question in the same topic now. So when you are going through this low phase, then what do you use to get out of it?
One is it's just not wanting to fail. It's harder sometimes to go back and start again than it is to have finished that little bit. But also, it's just the draw of getting to that finish line and that feeling of knowing what it's like to finish. That's what pulls me through. And whether I finish 100th or first, just knowing that you finish and you get it done is the best feeling in the world. Even when I finish an ultra now, I still have that same emotion like I did the first ever one that I finished, because each one's so different. And then I always ring my dad as soon as I've done, and I let him know that I'm finished, and hearing how proud he is of me. That's priceless. And yeah, it's just those, knowing that I can make myself do hard things when I never thought I'd ever be anything. Sometimes I didn't know whether I'd want to wake up in the morning. So the fact then that I can start a start line and then get to the finish line through whatever I need to get through to get there is what pulls me through. I suppose a little bit of fear of failure is also what pulls me through, and that's okay to say that if you're scared of failing and you want to get it done. That's one of my biggest motivations, is that. Also, sometimes I just want to get to see, like you, I break it down into little bits. And if I know there's a really nice view coming up at the top of a hill, I'm like, I'm going to get there, take in that view, have some food, and then run down it really quickly, or get to the next bit. I break it down into little chunks. I'll always have in my mind what's coming up in that route or race, and just look forward to that. When I was doing the FKT, seeing my dad and Andrew as the crew, that would always cheer me up and get me to the next bit. And also, I've done quite a lot of charity work, so that helps push me through too, because I know I've got the donations from people, the fact that I'm helping the charity. I don't want to let them down. I think the fear of letting people down is a big thing that drives me. So that's one of my big drives.
Yeah, I think that's why charity is so awesome, because you're doing so awesome thing, but then also it keeps you in check with your training and
Yeah,
then with the races
it's
too.
double.
And i- if you go back, so as we were talking and you started to talk about your journey, you said your first ultra was this 50-mile race that you did. And now,
Hmm.
as you look at yourself today, you have done so many 100-milers, you have so many FKTs of over 100-milers, you have done races that goes up to 6 days, you have done so many things. So if you could go back and give one advice to that Sanna who was first starting at her first ever ultra, what advice would you give it to her?
Keep smiling and keep eating. I don't think I've changed much from then. I know that you say I've done a lot and that I'm amazing, but I still feel I'm the same me from doing that first 50 miler to when I stand on this 90 miler in November. I don't feel like I'm anything special. I know I work hard and I'm deserving of the things that I've had, but I'm just like anyone else. I'm just very dedicated and disciplined, and I just want to do well and make my dad proud and not have those mental demons come back. To stay fit and healthy so that I can continue to do this is what keeps me going every day. I just want to stay happy and be healthy, and that's what I grew up with disabled parents, so seeing them not able to do things like maybe even go for a walk, that the fact that I can do these things is really a privilege, because not everyone can, unfortunately. We all have our little hobbies and things, but I really am fortunate that my running has taken me literally across Wales, the whole of the Pembrokeshire coast path, and I know how lucky I am that my body and my mind has made me do this, and I want to do it for everyone that can't do it, and every woman that hasn't had confidence because they didn't feel like they could, because not many women do ultras, and it does make me, it's getting better, which I'm so happy, but I've often been one of 5 on a start line, and the fact that I've gone there and I've done it, little me, means any of us can do it if we really want to. So I stand there for every little girl that got told they couldn't, and they can.
Yeah, I think I've talked to so many ultra runner women too. And that is the thing that we have seen is the growth, especially in the US too, because now so many races are becoming mom friendly. So they
Yeah.
have places to look after kids or so many other
Yeah.
things. So I think that is what it should be. I also believe that women should have fair chance, equal chance, because it's so easy for us men because you don't look at the kids or whatever, then you just go and do these ones, and
Yeah.
then moms are at home and looking after the kids. So I think it's not fair, and I think there needs to be equal balance where there is an equal opportunity for women to run too, because especially mom, if you have like a newborn, then it's really hard to run the race. Yeah, so I'm really
Train
happy.
and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that in this regard there is some growth and like a lot
And
of.
there's crashes and things like that as well now coming at races, which obviously allows the women to be able to race, not have to know that the children are being well taken care of and things like that. It's definitely, in the last 2-3 years, it's got a lot better, which is, I don't have children, but I can see and appreciate the differences in the, like, more toilets and things at race start lines, because it's harder for women. We can't just go pee in a hedges quite so discreetly, but having these things makes it a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. And now going back to this topic that we talked about earlier on, where people are not so open about it because social media are usually so much glorified with just the successes and everything. So you talked about your DNF where you were not able to run. You did 130 miles and then you quit because you just couldn't go on. So
Yeah.
once you made that decision, and I believe that when you make the decision, okay, I cannot go much further, that is the hardest decision, because us runner, we always want to go no matter what. That is I
Yeah.
believe that is the hardest decision, to make that call where you don't want to continue running. How did you react the days after you say you cannot do the race, because it's a very tough decision?
When I did it this year, I've dealt with it better than I have before, which has shown growth for me. Because previously, when I've had to DNF, I've had to DNF like 90 miles into a 200 miler before. And I was like, I spiraled down. I was very blue. I was very down. It was like the end of the world. Obviously, it wasn't. But in my mind, in that moment, that's how it felt. I was miserable. And I didn't know when I'd be able to run again because it was like injury, and that was even worse. But I wouldn't rest because I was just caught up in this spiral. But when I made the decision this year, when I did it, and I was really quite proud of myself in that way, I knew that I was injured. Thought I was injured. I knew I had to stop to prevent injury. If I wanted to run again that year, it was the right thing to do. I was miserable and I wasn't enjoying it. And I always say the most important thing is that you should be enjoying it. It wasn't like it got tough and I was a little bit sad. It was pure misery, pain, cold. I had a really hard section coming up and I couldn't put my heel to the floor. How was I meant to do that in the night with blowing winds and rain? It just wasn't going to happen safely. So I've obviously matured. And I rang my dad and he said, like, how, and he was really sensible. And my partner, he was in the car and I was on the phone, and like, how are you going to feel telling people that? Do you know what? I'm actually fine with it. I said, I'm hating, I'm not enjoying it. If that was anybody else saying it and they were saying that, I wouldn't force them to carry on. So I'm calling it a day. And everyone did support it. And I'm sure, of course they would. But I went and checked if I was injured and I built back up properly. And I think I've got a lot better support network now, which does help. But I'm so much more mentally stronger from learning from things and running. A DNF doesn't define you. That's just that one time that I didn't get to do it, but I didn't break myself either. So it meant I trained and I got to run for Wales then in May in France, so that was good. And then I got to completely obliterate my old record again in August. So it was a happy ending and that worked well. Yeah, DNFs are hard, but when you're in it, you know it's the right thing to do. And like my friend tried to say to me, "Are you sure? Like you want to quit?" I was like, "Yes, just bring Andrew." I was right. I was done. There was no talking me out of it. When you're in that pain or you're feeling ill in that moment, that is the right thing to do.
Definitely, yeah. Like I said, that making that call is itself a very hard decision for any runner because it's not easy because there is so much of training that has led for you to come to this situation.
Yeah.
So I totally understand it. And the other thing that would be interesting to know is when you do these big races, how does your recovery look like after the race?
I would never follow my recovery. If you were coached, I think if I was coached, I think I would have been like tied up in a room to make sure I didn't run after. But I don't restrict any of my eating. So if I'm hungry, I let my body have what it wants. I have earlier nights or naps if I can, if it's on a weekend, to catch up on that sleep. However, I finished my run on the Sunday morning. I didn't do anything on the Monday. Just walked the dogs gently, paddle in the sea, which I always do. And then I went for a little run on Tuesday in the gym. And then I eased my mileage up. I then ran continuous, like back kind of to normal, but I didn't push pace. I did walk any hills that I wanted to, and I used my runs to catch up with friends and have it a little bit more social and relaxed. So I didn't worry about pace. It did take about 2 weeks of like this steady, easy running and gym work. And then I decided to do speed work so I could get ready for Cardiff half marathon. So there is like you taper in and there's like a taper out type thing. So I do follow that. But I felt so amazing after my FKT. I trained so hard for it because obviously I got to train for it twice because they failed and then doing it again in the August. But I felt so good and I was so happy and I was so pleased that I'd done it. I couldn't wait to get back out there. When you do trail running, a really big thing, you're either not going to want to see those trails again because like they hate you and you're done with it, or you just fall more madly in love with it. And for me, I just fell in love with it again. I know this sounds so cheesy, but it was like last night I was on my run and we've had pretty bad weather here and we got like flood alerts, but last night it was a beautiful sunset in the big beaver moon, and I just stood there for a moment on the bit of coast path that's local to me, and I'm like, I still love it. My heart still flutters on this path. I feel free and empty. This is why I do this. I had a bit of a tough day. I went on those trails, took in that view, and it was just, I felt free and empty. And everything felt a little bit better. Obviously, when we go for a run, the problem that may have caused us to feel stressed or upset doesn't go away. But you've gone through the different scenarios in your head, you've calmed down a bit, or you've shouted it out on the trails, and you deal with the problem a little bit better, maybe with a little bit less emotion or anger, and you put, all your thoughts in a line so you can maybe have better conversations about an issue. The problem's still there, but your mindset deals with it slightly better. So that's what it does for me.
Yeah, I think I can relate to that. It's freeing. It's so nice to be just running and just feeling where you just enjoy it, the general happiness. And I also feel that sometimes, but then also sometimes today I went for a run and I'm like, oh my God, it sucks.
Yeah, no, last night's run was amazing, and then this morning's run was like, what are these legs doing? But that's part of it. Sometimes it's going to be great, sometimes it's not. But that is life, isn't it? Some days are great, or some hours are great, some aren't. And I think that's why we keep doing it. It's, I suppose, like the odd bad run that you have, most of them are good. That's why it's also good to run with friends or to explore different areas, because again, then you don't worry about pace so much. So sometimes when I'm caught up on my local loop trails, like I'm really fortunate of how much I'll just go do a different bit of coast path and it'll feel different again. And I'm really lucky that I can do that. But yeah, you can just change your route so easily. It just makes it different. Even running the other way helps. If you run out one way, just turn it around, the hills are different.
I enjoy when I'm in Berlin, but I'm in Sweden right now, so I don't know what is here. But every time I find it very hard to run here. I don't know what it is, but it just feels it. I don't know how to run. Whenever I run, basically, is that feeling is, and I think it's the routine too because I used to run in the morning just as I wake up and then I just go run. But now I have this class, and I think it's a different type of routine too, where I'm getting used to this running when I'm
Yeah.
tired and exhausted from all the and hungry and everything. So I think
Yeah.
it is a new routine, and I'm sure that it will get better once I have this dial in because until last week I used to run in the morning. So now it's just been a week where I have to change
Yeah. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll run when I don't feel great. Like I don't love running at midday. However, 2 of my races next year start at midday, so it's good to sometimes practice the things that are uncomfortable. You are meant to enjoy most of your training, but if you've got goals and races that you want to do, then sometimes you have to do it when. Sometimes after I finish work and I've ran in the morning and I'm doing my second run and the weather's not so great, my mind's not in it. So I might not do as much effort or thing, but the fact that I get out there and do it, and then my mind remembers when I'm in a race that, oh, we can do this when we don't quite feel like it because we've done it before. And then after you've done it, you might not feel like it that first mile, but by mile 3, you're normally like fine and you get to go home, have a shower and dinner, and everything's a bit better and you're glad you did it. But starting is the hardest thing.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to that feeling where you were explaining about when you went out yesterday evening and then you felt this so amazing. And one of the typical questions I ask everybody is, why do you run?
So I can eat lots of food. But no, I run to see the nature, to free my mind, for the movement and just to escape a bit of daily life. It's for the movement and just to escape for half hour, 3 hours, whatever I can get in that day. It's just to be out there in nature and escape and burn some calories.
If you could go back, right? So you have a decade of running, and within that decade, you have done so many races that we have done. Some are multi-day races. You ran into the dragon back race where you did over 6 days. Then you have so many other FKTs as well and 100 milers. So if you could go back to your history and just relive one of the races, which one would it be?
It would be the Coast 100 when I did it in 2018. That was a pinnacle year. And although I won that race overall, it was the first time I won it, anything like first male, female. It gave me belief that hard work, training, and believing in myself could get there. Although I did get injured that year, which was another learning curve, but doing that race made me believe in myself. It wasn't about winning it. It was just being out there pushing like I've never pushed before. I wanted to do a certain time and I completely obliterated. I did it in 27 hours, so I wanted to beat that time, and then I realized I'd get it under 25, and then it was like under 24. It was just about keeping pushing and adapting your goals, whether that's to go faster or slower. But that's what taught me about control, sorting yourself out, and pushing more than what you think that you can. That there's much more in the tank. Our minds will hold us back, but I was able to let go of that and push like I've never pushed before.
Looking at the future, so you just said earlier on that you only have this 119-mile race coming in this calendar year, but next
Yeah.
year, what is next for you? 200 milers?
So, well, I'm going to do the Arc Attrition, which is now a UTMB race in Cornwall, the 100 miler. I did do that in 2023, but obviously being UTMB, that's a much bigger field now. So that scares me and excites me. It's coast path, which is amazing, but there's a lot of people. And then I'm doing the UTS, so the Ultra Trail of Snowdon again, which is UTMB, which I tried to do in 2024, but had a fall at 40 miles in and called it a day because I couldn't run downhill anymore. And that was quite important for that race. And going back, I'm going to try, even though that race is very tough for me, there's a lot of scrambling and again, a big profile race, but I want to prove to myself I can go back and work hard and get it done. So 100 milers in January and May, and then I'm thinking of doing a race across Wales. So it's less than 200 miles, but it's along like the north part of Wales. Its first year was this year in 2025, so that's in September. So I'm looking to do that. And I think I might go back and do the GB Ultra 100 miler because they've made a few changes to the routes, and I just love running with GB Ultras, and I love that race. So but the 2 UTMB races are booked in. I'm definitely doing them. And there's also something else I'm doing this year. Every year, it's been a tradition since I was 30 that I run my age in miles. So I'll go for my birthday. My birthday's 22nd of December, so weather can be a bit iffy, not much daylight. So I got a 38 miler planned for my birthday on the 22nd with a few crazy friends join me to run in terrible weather on trails in Wales. So that'll be my final big run of the year as well, but not a race. So.
Hopefully, there is no snow, or if there is a snow, then there is no blizzard
We
or
don't get
anything.
snow in this bit of Wales. It's just
Oh,
mud and slush.
that's so much nice.
Yeah, and if we do get Wales in snow in Pembrokeshire, like it's not good for us because it just comes to a halt. But I think I'm 38, and I think we've maybe had snow 3 times,
Wow.
and it just doesn't stick very well here. Yeah.
Lucky. It sucks here in Berlin. When there's a few days, then it's all pretty with the fresh snow, but then
Yeah.
it's all muddy, dark, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that's awful.
Slush.
Okay, so now I have this thing called rapid fire. So I'm just gonna ask you 6 things. It's just random things. It's totally random. So
Okay. I love random and crazy stuff.
trail shoes or road shoes,
Trail shoes.
night running or sunrise finish,
Ooh, sunrise finish.
favorite post race meal,
Oh, my dad's roast beef dinner, but no Yorkshire puddings.
hardest climb you have ever done,
Crib Goch up on Snowdonia. It's a grade 1 scramble. It's horrific.
mountain or coast,
Oh, can we do mount to coast? That's very tough for me, but I suppose I'll stay true to my coast path and say coast.
song that always gets you moving,
See, I'm not a great music person that motivates me anymore because we really haven't been allowed them. So I'll have to go with the morning bird song, the morning's bird song chorus. I love waiting with the birds in the mornings and the crashing waves. So that's my soundtrack, nature.
choice. Okay, and I think this is okay. One more thing. What's your connection to Wales, and does running those trails feels like home?
So I'm born and bred Pembrokeshire, definitely a very Welsh girl. And yeah, I've run a few other trails in other countries, but when I come back to Pembrokeshire's trails or the Welsh mountains, I just feel at home. It's just me. They're wild, rugged. They're glorious on a sunny day, but in the bad weather, it's a bad mood. Just a little bit like my moods. It's either really happy or not. So I think I'm Welsh weather and trails through and through.
Okay, and this is the final question I usually ask everybody. I would like you to please finish this sentence for me. Running has changed my life because.
It has made me meet amazing people, given me amazing opportunities and self-belief.
Awesome. Yeah. And this was a really fun conversation. Getting to know you more and talk about your races that you did. You have done some incredible things. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, thank you for giving me this space to share my story with you, Ash. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your story. And then once you do next race in January, we can circle back up and then talk about how you do it. And then it's going to be a really fun story.
No, that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
and have a good night. Good evening.
You too.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Ash. Bye.
Hey everyone, thank you for making it to the end of the podcast. I hope you really enjoy this conversation. I'll see you again next time with another guest. Until then, happy running.